Hello everyone, my name is Isaac and I recently just went to the Mercedes dealer and checked out Sprinter vans, the 144 and the 170 wheelbase. I also went to Dodge, checked out the Ram Promaster, and I also went to Ford and checked out the Ford Transit vans. And the reason we're making this video today is I wanted to go check out all of these platforms for a van conversion, for anybody interested in van life or even just making a camper, and give you my thoughts and experiences on the different vans and platforms, and basically learn what I could about the subject and then be able to teach everyone out there. My background is I had a school bus conversion company for a whole bunch of years, and I built out tiny homes and school buses and sold them across the country. You can look back on my channel and check all that stuff out. So it's like I have experience with van conversions. You know, I've just never really done the new vans, and I was considering doing so to start another business. Not sure I'm going to or not, but I just wanted to arm myself with information and teach you guys out there. So that is my background. And if you want to watch the videos of going to each of the different dealers and test driving the vans, I will have a playlist attached to this video where you can go test drive each one of the vans with us and get more in depth if you really want to. This video right here is gonna be the whole thing compressed into one. So this video is for you. If you are considering buying a van or just wanna learn like I wanted to. So I made some notes on my phone and let's get into the subject. Let's talk about price. And the most common size of van is going to be about, it's like a 144, 148 wheelbase, the shorter vans, like normal sizes of normal vehicles, not the extended lengths. So we'll talk about that first. And they're all about like 18 feet, which normal parking spaces, etc. Now, they are all about $60,000 for a two-wheel drive. And you can get different things and different options and things like that. But they're all about 60 grand, give or take, right? So it's like the price isn't drastically different to do one or the other. So it's like, it's gonna come down to really just your choice. And it's not exact, but it's close enough. Two-wheel drive, basic versions, high tops, they're all about the same, right? So let's talk about why you might want to choose one or the other and the differences. Now, the Sprinter is a diesel, and typically the diesel motors and the Sprinters are known to go about 500 to 400,000 miles pretty easily, which is really great if you're trying to get a rig that you can have for a really long time and really put some miles on it. The Promaster and the Transit, their lifespan is about 200,000. I think you have more of a chance of going to 300 in the Transit than the Promaster. The Promaster is known for having some issues in the older models. I shouldn't pick on the Promaster. All the vans have some years that were better than others, so I'm not gonna get into all of that. But, so lifespan, you're going to get more longevity out of the Sprinter van, no question. Most people typically don't own a vehicle that long, so that might not be a determining factor. Now, if you do a new van, we have warranty options. So we'll talk about that too. So if we go to get a brand new van, any one of the three, Promaster offers about a 50,000 powertrain warranty. So motor, transmission, anything catastrophic like that fails in the first 50,000 or 5 years, doesn't matter, you're good to go. So it's like, if you buy a brand new van under warranty, this is the perk, and you know, that's kind of the deal. Transit, Ford, same thing. About a 5-year, 50,000 mile powertrain warranty. Motor transmission fails, you're covered. Cool. Sprinter, 5 years or 100,000 mile warranty. Again, it's double the warranty, double the, you know, double like, so if we're just talking about that right now, I mean, to me, the Sprinter wins hands down, but let's dig a little deeper into why maybe you still would choose one of the other options. Yes, paper Sprinter looks great. Now, here's where it gets different. Now, both Ford and Dodge, you're going to be able to go to dealers all across the country. If you ever have a problem, it's going to be way easier to find somebody who can work on it. Parts are going to be way cheaper. Maintenance cost is going to be quite a bit cheaper to own a Dodge or a Ford. Sprinter, Mercedes will be quite a bit more expensive. Now, here's the flip side to that though. The Mercedes maintenance is going to be higher, but it's going to be longer intervals in between. Does it even out? I don't know, maybe a little close. I'm just giving you guys the information so that you can decide for yourselves what the better option is. Okay, so let's talk about the sizes. Both the Ford Transit, okay, so let's just talk about, the Promaster has the most interior space. It's the widest, it's the most livable space. If we're talking about the same short wheelbase vans, the Promaster has the most space. The Promaster is also front wheel drive. In a work van, I'm just not sure that's super great. The Ford Transit is rear wheel drive, more like a truck. It has, so the Promaster, both the Promaster and the Ford Transit, you can sleep sideways without adding bump outs. You can just add internal bump outs in the walls. It's very common, and you don't have to spend the extreme amount of money to add bump outs like you would a Sprinter. Sprinter, you pretty much have to add the bump outs to sleep sideways, or you're losing so much of your living space to put the bed long ways in the short wheelbase. That's a huge deal. I've priced this out a bunch of different ways, and by the time you're putting the bump outs on the Sprinter, you're adding about $3,000 to $5,000 to your build costs. They advertise that the bump outs are about $1,800 for a Sprinter van, but by the time you're buying trim rings and putting windows in, you're very easily at around $3,000. And then if you buy a bed frame made to fit it and a mattress made to fit the bump outs, you're at a $5,000 increase in build price. That could go a long ways in a build, $5,000, by not having to do that. That is a really, really big factor, which is why I looked at some of the longer wheelbase. I just want to share the information that I've learned here. I was looking at the longer wheelbase Sprinter or the longer wheelbase vans in general. They're going to be a little bit harder to park. I don't think driving with them is that big of a deal. But if you can run your bed lengthwise and preserve your living space, I think now the Sprinter is back in. If we're just talking short wheelbase, and we're talking about, if you have unlimited amount of money and funds, I mean, you know, that's on you. But if we're talking about somebody trying to do this kind of inexpensively, those bump outs are catastrophic as far as build price goes. The Ford Transit and the Promaster in the short wheelbase category, I feel like have that category locked down. Now, when we're talking about long wheelbase, I like the Sprinter better for a few of those reasons. you're gonna get double the lifespan. Your warranty, it's just bigger, longer. But it's like when you're already buying an expensive van, adding $5,000 to the build cost is pretty significant. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't have to add bump outs, but I feel like you lose so much space inside by running the bed lengthwise in a short wheelbase van, which is maybe why you might want to consider a long wheelbase. That's up to you. I drove a 170 long wheelbase Sprinter van, and I have a video. You can check it in the playlist, and I didn't think it drove literally any different than the 144. It's just kind of intimidating. There is that, but you will feel it parking. I'm not gonna delude you on that. Let's talk about this. I would say most people building a van, especially if you have no experience, you're not gonna be in that first van forever. Most people are gonna get in their first van and they're gonna build it out and they're gonna go on the road for a little bit, and they're either gonna love it or they're gonna hate it, or they're gonna decide that they want to change the layout. Thinking that far down the line with the Sprinter might not be realistic. You could buy any one of the vans and probably get 2 years under warranty where none of it really matters. And then maintenance costs, obviously, being cheaper, I think would have more value. There's that. So let's talk about one of the other things. It's cool. Hold on. I'm gonna pause it. All right, where are we at? Had to take a little break there. Let me look through my notes here. At this point, we have just been talking about brand new vans. With the information that I have learned and that I've just given you, I think if you're planning on buying a brand new van, as crazy as it sounds, you kind of can't really make a mistake. If you're planning on having a van under warranty, it doesn't really matter which way you go. Anything happens, you're fine. Maintenance will be higher on the Sprinter, but with that low of miles, the chances of you having real big issues are pretty slim. So it's like, if you want to be out on the road and you want to not worry about anything, I'd say getting a brand new van under warranty is the way to go. I myself have had a bus that had super low miles, should have never blown up, engine blow up. Now imagine being on the road in a rig and you have a catastrophic failure. And just because you want somebody to replace your motor doesn't mean you can necessarily get it done very quick. And when you're living in your vehicle, that's a big deal, right? The same thing with the transmission. Just because you want somebody to put a transmission in it doesn't mean somebody's going to drop everything they're doing and put a transmission in for you. Sometimes these transmission shops are months out. To even get somebody that wants to work hard anymore and put a motor in your rig could be impossible to find. Could not. When you live in your vehicle and that is your house, having a warranty, it's a pretty big deal. Now, you are going to get waxed if you buy a brand new van. You know, there's markup. Everybody knows that. You drive off the lot, you lose 10 grand. That's common knowledge. So, the thing that I have learned recently doing my research is if you want to get the best value, you can still go to the dealer. Like, I recently was at the dealer and they had a 2-wheel drive Sprinter van that got turned in with less than 10,000 miles, basically brand new, still under warranty, still has all the same things, and it's $10,000 cheaper on the lot. So getting something pre-owned from the dealer still under warranty is also an option. So you're not paying the high ticket price, and you know, you're still under warranty. You still have all these same deals. Now, I guess I'll touch on this in this video as well. If you don't want to go finance $60,000, I feel like with 20 to 30 grand, you can get a decent used van, maybe even less, in each one of these categories. Transit, Promaster, Sprinter van. Now, I feel like that changes everything. With the Sprinter having the longest lifespan, I feel like the Sprinter in the used market is becomes way more of a solid choice at the top of the food chain. Because if you buy a van with 130, 150,000 miles, you still got a ways to go. Versus you buy a Transit or a Promaster with 150,000 miles, you're coming towards the end of that van's life. Now you could also finance like a newer but used, out of warranty, let's say Transit for 30 grand or so. And it's out of warranty, but again, the chance, like at 40,000 miles, you still got a decent amount of life left. So you can go pre-owned, get stuff way more affordable, and just kind of keep in mind the lifespan of the vehicle, you know, and then obviously the lower the miles, the better, because also resale. If you use and abuse this vehicle till the end of its life, you trying to sell it, you're probably not going to get very much money out of it. And when we're talking about resale, the Sprinter does have the highest resale, no question. So that's where we're at. I think, let me double check my notes here. I've kind of gone through everything between, I guess I want to talk about this too. All of the two-wheel drive. Well, let's talk about my pick. I feel like that'll lead into the next thing I want to talk about. I actually have two. My pick for a brand new $60,000 van price range, I would go with the Ford Transit, if we're talking short wheelbase. Now, the reason I would do that is two-wheel drive Sprinter van, about 60 grand. Two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive Promaster, about 60 grand. All-wheel drive Ford Transit that doesn't need bump outs, about 60 grand. That's huge. You're saving about $5,000 on bump outs with the short wheelbase Sprinter. And the all-wheel drive is a big deal. Like, some people might not think that matters to them, but that matters in the grand scheme of things. If you ever go to resell it, for example, my truck, I could buy a two-wheel drive version of my old truck all day long for 4 to 6 grand. Nobody wants them. The four-wheel drive version of my truck, even over 200,000 miles, sells for like 15 to over 10 all day. Almost double the value. So it's like that all-wheel drive really does matter when it comes to resale, because most people aren't going to own their car their whole life. And whenever they go to sell it, anything they can do to preserve the resale of that vehicle is going to be huge. Not to mention, if you ever run into inclement weather, having that all-wheel drive is going to be a huge difference. So if we're building a camper conversion, the all-wheel drive is massive. Now, Sprinter makes an all-wheel drive version of their vans as well, but it's a hefty price increase. So when we're talking about an all-wheel drive Sprinter van, we're talking $12,000 to $15,000 more. They're $72,000 to $75,000. It's quite a bit. When we're talking about the same two-wheel drive vans, short wheelbases, all around the same price, and the Ford Transit gives you an all-wheel drive version at that same, I think it's no question. If we're talking short wheelbase vans, the all-wheel drive Ford Transit wins all day in my book. That's the van I would buy. Now, there's a lot more used two-wheel drive or pre-owned two-wheel drive Sprinters that you can get from the dealer than there are all-wheel drive Transits that you can get from the dealer. So if you're going to buy a brand new one, all-wheel drive Transit all day. If you're trying to go pre-owned, could kind of go either way, because you're going to have a hard time finding one because everybody wants them. Short wheelbase, that's my winner all day long. If we're talking about long wheelbase, I like the Sprinter. If all-wheel drive isn't really on the table, I would do the Sprinter van just for longevity and not to mention aftermarket support. Sprinter 100% has the most aftermarket support. I would say Transit is second in aftermarket support and Promaster is third in aftermarket support. Now, some people have mentioned the Nissan NV, zero aftermarket support for that van. So that's why I don't even mention it, and that's why I'm not even bringing it into this conversation. My pick for value, all-wheel drive, short wheelbase, Ford Transit. And then if we're talking about the longer wheelbase stuff, I like the Sprinter van, especially the all-wheel drive version. And if you have the budget, if you got the money isn't really an issue. I do like the all-wheel drive versions of the Sprinters. They're going to hold their value better. But if we're talking about bang for your buck, I feel like it's kind of hard to beat the all-wheel drive Transits. It's still up in the air. I just wanted to give you guys my information. You know, and some people might still argue that the all-wheel drive Sprinters with the price increase is still worth it because of resale. You could be right. But yeah, I think the all-wheel drive Transits and the all-wheel drive Sprinters are both really great. Value all-wheel drive Transit. So I don't know. I hope it was really fun going to all of these different dealers and driving all of these rigs and kind of learning myself about them and being able to teach you guys. So I hope this video helps someone out there and maybe make a decision on what they want to do or helps them, you know, figure out something. If this just happens to be the first time you've stumbled across my channel, consider subscribing. I also have a whole playlist of this whole ordeal. You can go back and kind of check it out, each van. And if you're a longtime subscriber, you know we have a whole bunch of love and respect for you. Thanks for being here for this one, and I hope somebody out there learned something. This is Isaac signing out. Thanks for watching. Bye.